Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. And as you know, I am doing a review of every book that I read in 2018. And today I am really excited about doing this book review. I just did a book video the other day talking about getting in a reading slump and how to get out of a reading slump. And, you know, like laziness and complacency adding into that, but also like not finding a book that you can really get into. And I had downloaded all of these like young adult audiobooks because I hadn't been listening to a lot of young adult recently. And I just kind of like randomly went into Audible and, you know, like I would look up a book that I really liked, like Will Grayson, or my own book, Before Now and After Then, linked below. And then I would like go in and I would see what other books were recommended with that. And a lot of these books that I will be reading over the next couple days were books that were recommended, except for the fact that right now on Audible I'm listening to Behind Your Eyes because so many people recommended this book to me. So anyway, one of the books that I downloaded, and I literally knew nothing about this book, okay, was The Dangerous Art of Blending In, a novel by Angelo Sirmilis. And here is the cover, if you can see it with my ring light, which is horrible. The cover is, excuse me, it's really pretty. And it came out January 30th of 2018, so it's a brand new release as of this year. Boo Radley is dying to be in this video, aren't you? He said, "Dad, that peepee always gets to be in all the videos, and I don't ever get to be in any videos." Well, Boo Radley, you are in this video. So anyway, I will read you a little bit about Angelo Sirmilis, who I followed on Twitter, and he followed me back. So let's see, I will read you his author profile. Angelo Sirmilis was raised in Greece until he immigrated to Illinois at the age of 5. He currently lives in Los Angeles. An award-winning designer, Sirmilis has, and if I'm mispronouncing his name, I apologize. An award-winning designer, Sirmilis has been featured on over 50 television shows, including The Today Show and Extra, as well as in magazines such as InStyle, TV Guide, and Entertainment Weekly. Yes, I saw Boo Radley back there. He has worked as a host on networks like HGTV and TLC. He can be found online at www.angelohome.com. Okay, so let me read you what the book is about, all right? Here it is. Book description. 17-year-old Evan Panos doesn't know where he fits in. His strict Greek mother refuses to see him as anything but a disappointment. His quiet workaholic father is a staunch believer in avoiding any kind of conflict. And his best friend Henry has somehow become distractingly attractive over the summer. Tired, isolated, scared, Evan's only escape is drawing in an abandoned church that feels as lonely as he is. And yes, he kissed one guy over the summer. But it's his best friend Henry who's now proving to be irresistible. It's Henry who suddenly seems interested in being more than friends. And it's Henry who makes him believe that he's more than his mother's harsh words and terrifying abuse. But if things with Henry heat up and his mother's abuse escalates, Evan has to decide how to find his voice in a world where he has survived so long by avoiding attention at all costs. Okay, so I'm going to do a spoiler-free review of this book, and without trying to spill anything, because I literally bawled my eyes out like the last part of it. Let me tell you how many pages it is, too. I think it's like 265 pages or something like that. Hold on just a second. It is 336 pages. So anyway, it starts off, and it's about this kid named Evan, and he's 17 years old, and he just got back from going to like a church camp over the summer. And his best friend Henry, who he's been friends with for a long time, stayed home and played tennis because he has like this tennis scholarship. And they've been best friends forever. When the book starts, you know that Evan is gay, but nobody else does. And when I tell you, I will tell you this about the book. Trigger warning, any kind of physical abuse. The physical abuse in this book is unreal. And I will tell you this. I've read so many LGBTQIA+ young adult books. The thing that sets this book really apart from the rest, and why I think this is such a beautiful book, I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. I would probably rate it, I don't know, like a 95%, which is, you guys know, really high for me. It had almost everything. I just think there was like a little bit more that could have been there, but I don't even really know what that would have been. But the thing that sets this book apart from everything else is the absolute honesty and raw vulnerability of the abuse that he suffers. from his mother, which I already talked about that, so I'm not spoiling it, from his mother in the book. And it is very much centered around her speculating that he's gay. And I've read a lot of books of kids that aren't out and what they suffer and things like that. But this book, like more than any of the rest, like you know at some point, this is the thing, when reading it, you know at some point he's going to have a breaking point, like a boiling point, but you don't know what it is reading the book. You know what I mean? Like you never know, like, when's this kid gonna break? But you know it's gonna happen at some point. And I'm gonna tell you right now, okay? You do not see it coming. It doesn't come the way that you think it is. And it doesn't happen the way that you think it's gonna happen. Even if I told you exactly what happens with his breaking point, it wouldn't make sense to you in the context of what I've told you about this book. One of the things that's really interesting is that his best friend's family is like awesome and loving and compassionate in, you know, context to his family that is not. Although I will say this, his dad is one of my favorite characters in the book. And as much as you want to dislike him, you understand him. And one of the things that Angelos Termilis, the author, does, which I think is so fantastic, is that throughout the entirety of the book, whether it's, you know, the pastor of the church, or whether it's his mom, or whether it's, you know, friends at school, no matter who it is, whether it's this boy that he kissed at camp, he doesn't just leave it hanging why their motives or their intentions are the way they are. You know, he explains it. And I think it's fantastic. He even at one point explains, he has the mother explain her own abuse. And, you know, it's like I'm sitting there, I'm like reading this book and I'm like, this is like so profound, you know? It also goes in and it shows so much of like Greek American culture, which I know very little about. And so to hear about it, and especially like the religious practices of it, and you know, I don't know, it's just so interesting as a cultural, I don't know, evaluation of characters. You know, when you read it, it's just like you learn a lot about the Greek culture, the Greek American culture that you're not aware of, and coming here and what that's like for them, and you know, struggling financially, and you know, the religiosity of all of it, of some of them. I don't want to generalize. It's done so fantastically. You know, Evan as a character, I have to say my favorite character was not Evan. My favorite character was Henry, the best friend. The book ends with a happy mixture of tragedy and happiness. It ends realistically. It ends honestly. And that was what I really, really liked about the book. I'm all for happy endings, you know? But at the same time, you know, I don't know. And it's like there was drinking in the book, and there was a lot of like teen honesty, if that makes sense. It didn't feel like one of these. I love John Green, but I think that sometimes like, you know, John Green and David Levithan, they don't write very realistic like teenage characters. You know, they just don't. I mean, I think they write very realistic teenage characters for a certain population, if that makes sense. But I don't think that their characters, I don't know, they just don't. They have these deeply intellectual conversations and stuff like that, you know? And what I loved about this book was that there was a lot of secret keeping between friends, and the friends were pissed. The other friend, you know, kept it a secret. One of the other things that I love is that there's a betrayal of friendship kind of in this book at one point, and the way that they address it, I think, is so... I think it's so appropriate and typical of how teenagers would address it. You know, and it's around kind of a violent situation, and a friend just kind of sits by and doesn't really do anything. And that's all I'm going to say, because it won't ruin it for you, and I want you to read that part. But I do think there are a lot of friends that would act that way. You know, I think there are a lot of friends that at that teenage age that wouldn't know how to react in a situation, or would be afraid themselves, or, you know, and I think like he has such a beautiful voice in demonstrating these characters and how they interact and the story that comes together. The only thing I had an issue with was this, okay? But I know that like it would have made the video. It would have made the book be over much quicker. But one of the things that like I didn't like about this, and this is one of the things I don't like about a lot of books that I read, especially young adult books, right? Is when the character is handed everything they want in life, and then they're like, no. Yeah, it's like, what? Like, I don't understand that, you know? And it happens time and time again. It's like that Windfall by Jennifer Smith. Like, this is not a spoiler for that either. But like, she gives her best friend a ticket for the lottery. He wins like a mass amount of money, right? And then he's like, at least let me give you like half of it. She's like, no, it's your ticket. she would have got like $50 million. And he's like, well, at least let me get you $1 million. No, I don't need your money. She goes on, it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just like that kind of BS in books just cracks me up. But that was like the only thing. But the book so redeems itself that by the end I had forgotten it really even happened. And the thing is that in the context of the book, had that not happened, had he not like, no, I don't want everything that I've ever wanted in my entire life, you'll know what I'm talking about if you read the book. Everybody needs to read this book. It's fantastic. I cannot believe it is, like, I haven't heard anything about this book. I mean, it really, like, it is a really good young adult book. Like, it's very much like on the level of like, you know, Simon versus the Homo sapien agenda, but like not as happy, if that makes sense. And because it's just kind of got a lot of this like depressing material in it, but at the same time, it's like, one part of it is the depressing material when he's dealing with his family, but when he's dealing with his friends, it's very much like a John Green novel. It's very much like a, John Corey Whaley, who's one of my, I love him. I think he's so fantastic. You know, when his characters are just kind of like palling around. And so it's this mixture of the two. And what is so beautiful about it is that is reality for a lot of teenagers. That when they come home, their life is completely different than when they're with their friends. Do you know what I mean? And that they don't let their friends know what their real home life is all about. And for that reason, I think that this book is vital to be read. It's very, very well done. I was really impressed with it and I loved it. And I can't wait to see what Angelo Sermilis has next. I'm really excited. I hope this isn't like a one and done. I hope he doesn't just write this book and be done with it. I hope that there's many more books to come. And I actually, you know, one of the things is that when a book doesn't do like super well at first, you know, it's not like on the top 10 bestseller list. A lot of times people don't do sequels. This book would be such a great book to have a sequel to. I would love to find out what happens to these characters later, because I think the evolution of these characters over the course of the book is what made it so fantastic. So go check it out. I will link it below. And I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.